day 2 of 26. I hope everybody had a good Christmas, had a good New Year. It was certainly an awesome time. Me and the fam up here, we were basically having all our family over. It was pretty fun. We did like a big old slumber party. It was pretty awesome. And I have a bunch of stuff that we can cover today because it is day 2 of the No Sugar Challenge. This is something that we do every single year at the Wellness Way, and I'll be going over just some strategies with you guys, some details on everything, what you can be doing, and how to get all of the resources too, so that you can have either daily tracking sheets and basically your foods to avoid and foods to enjoy list, which seems a little harder at first, especially once you look at the foods to avoid list. But the goal is to look at the enjoyable foods that you can have, because it's much easier to focus on what you do have than what you don't. That goes for pretty much everything in life, but especially in regards to food, because it's really emotional, and especially after the holidays. This is why we do this every year, because Christmas, I mean, hold on, rewind. You go Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all these holidays just basically spent eating a ton of sugar and getting no sleep. So the whole purpose of this being get that sugar down for one thing, and to start to reorient how you approach food and looking at it more of a fuel source instead of an emotional cling, you know. But I even got slides that we can cover, and then obviously when we go over some of these things, I'll be giving you guys the link to sign up for that No Sugar Challenge, so that'll be really cool, and get you guys discounts, get you guys a whole bunch of cool stuff. Plus the Facebook group as well. Join that, because there's a whole bunch of people that are already in the Wellness Way community, whether you're a patient uh, or a doc or somebody that works in headquarters or at a local office. We're all in there sharing our struggles, because day 1 and 2 are probably the first three maybe to 5 days are the hardest ones. But once you get past that, it starts getting easier. So, however, um, in addition to the No Sugar Challenge this year, we kind of made a little tweak to it, being a focus on weight loss as well. So, not just the No Sugar Challenge, but the No Sugar and Weight Loss Challenge. So, today I want to cover basically for the people that are kind of doing everything right, despite the sugar fiending over the past few months. There's obviously a ton of stuff that you can do for weight loss, and most people are saying, "Hey, I'm doing most of these things right, but what can I do for weight loss?" And I'm trying everything I can, and I'm not getting any results. So, metabolic syndrome is a huge portion of this, and caloric intake. So, when you think about weight loss, it's about calories in there. You have to focus on the calories coming in, but then what those calories are made up of, because that's kind of surface level to just go, okay, calories in, calories out. If I just switch everything to just eating Twinkies and having only 1,400 calories of Twinkies a day, yes, you can lose weight, but you are going to be deficient and not doing that for a health purpose in the long run. So calories do matter. How you can start to cut on the calories without getting deficient is getting the protein up and substituting the sugar-based calories for some proteins there, because proteins are obviously less calories per gram, which most people know that. Fat being the highest, though, which is kind of misunderstood. But yeah, fat's typically the highest in caloric intake, and then sugars, and then proteins. But sugars are widely available. So when you can start to reduce those, now you take your body away from just using that easy fuel source to now using different things. And that's why literally step 1 for getting calories down is to take in more protein. But um, obviously there's different ways that you could do that. That's where the sheets come available for the no sugar sheets. I see we got definitely more people popping in here. And I'll get to the questions too. I'm kind of doing a lecture slash Q&A for us here. So play Erica. YouTube is always hilarious with these comments. I got 2 platforms up here. Um, Either way, meat wise or protein wise, grass fed, you got to go for finished as well, because then it's usually grain finished. If you didn't know that, if you're getting grass fed meats and you don't see that grass finished label on there, then the cow or whatever it is more than likely being finished off with grains. So that's kind of crazy in my book. But organic, grass fed, grass finished. In terms of red meats, beef, bison, lamb, and then organic pasture raised chicken, eggs. I'm not really going to include pork in there, although it is on the list. I like people to cut that down a little bit because, like I said, fat has a lot of calories. So it wouldn't hurt to cut back on that one, especially the bacon and all that. But turkey and venison and wild caught fish. Obviously, you don't want farm fished because they add coloring and all this. It's pellet fed. It's just like a big pool that they're all in. So, but let's tackle some of the questions so far because we really only covered a couple slides here. And I'm probably going to turn toward the YouTube folks here first because within YouTube it's a little bit easier for. I got to add the NoSugar sign up. Oh, shit. I got to add the NoSugar sign up sheet. Why is that volume on? Oh, different device. That's why. There we go. Cool. Interesting how that works. I could turn it on by one switch, but I have to turn it off with a separate one. Anyways, let's pull up the chat here. Live chat. Okie doke. Where did we start here? Tommy, I don't know if I've seen you in here before, Tommy, but hello. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all you guys, too. Hope you guys are doing well. Been doing carnivore for 5 days so far. Nice. Keto flu sucks. I saw that comment come in earlier, and I was like, "What the heck is he talking about?" But yeah, you're going through some sugar yeast die off, which is not the most fun, but certainly a part of the process because that's what starts to happen. Yeast and sugar go crazy together. Look at all these people from Deutschland. We got some Germans in here. Grain finished tastes better. Don't care. It's not about emotions here. That's part of why we do the No Sugar Weight Loss Challenge every single January because your food, again, like I said in the beginning, this should be for nutrition or fuel. That's how you should think about food, not emotions. It's kind of a easy, slippery slope to get yourself into. Favorite cologne? Don't wear any. Don't do any of that. Toxic. Toxic. I do like sandalwood though. Best essential oil smelling out there. I'll put you guys in cologne. Don't wear that stuff. Terrible. Can't concentrate on studies. Oh my god. All right. Let's go over to TikTok because you guys aren't brain rotten. I'm going to wait for the actual YouTube questions to come in there. And I should have joined earlier because now I can't see all the other ones. But either way, I know Mike. No, I don't know who that is. Sir, please join me. No. Grant Hindle. Pretty funny, though. Pretty funny. Either way. So, where did we leave off? Slide 9. Talking about protein and how that helps us not only get calories down by getting more protein in, and obviously getting sugar down too, that's going to help you get calories down as well. But it's also going to give you some form of satiety so that you're not hungry every 20 or 30 minutes, which you will see a ton when you're mainly taking in a lot of sugar-based sources and things. But another thing is the thermogenic effect of taking higher based protein sources in, because you're going to use about 30% of those calories or so to break down and assimilate that protein. Because whenever you eat, think of like an apple. When you eat an apple, let's pretend it's an apple made of Legos. And you take bites of those Lego apple and it comes apart. And then your body's got to put that apple back together just in different forms of things inside your body. So every piece of food that you eat, that has to happen. Has to break it all down and then put it all back together. And that's to rebuild tissues and do all this wonderful stuff, right? But when you do that with protein or higher base protein sources, now it takes calories to do that. And it takes roughly 30% of those calories per gram. So that's why with the no sugar challenge, you have to focus on getting more proteins in. It is not a no food challenge. That's not, and some people will do like a little fast eating just to help. I did that too. I did like a 24-hour fast, just kind of start with that stuff. But yeah, that's a part of that. You have to switch the fuel sources up. Again, food is fuel. We don't want to demonize food. That's not something that we're interested in here. That doesn't help anybody at all. But getting sugar down, getting protein up, calories do matter. But what are those calories made of, and what are you eating? Um, YouTube chat's going crazy. TikTok awfully silent. I know it's been a while. I'm in the process of doing a bunch of things here. Okay. Um, where did we leave off? People talking about Iran in here. Very interesting. It's always the YouTube people going on these crazy tangents. TikTok's like just hate what I do. YouTube is just talking about everything except what we're talking about on the lives. Uh, okay, so some depression in here. We could tackle some of that. Sugar, doing too much sugar can lead to some of that. Plus, being on your phone too long. I think EMF, 5G stuff, and what you're consuming, that does affect your brain. In concentrating on studies, do you need help from a psychiatrist? Focus on more dopamine. Do things like Makuna seed, maybe even a little bit of kava, and you can build up some dopamine there. Get more drive and task orientation and follow through. How to gain weight fast? What type of weight? Are we talking fat, muscle? How young we speaking? I am very sorry to hear about your grandma. Bro, I'm not able to forget. Leave some tips. Yes, certainly. Damn. Interesting. Okay. I have a TV. I see who's he talking to. I have a big TV right here, and I got both chats pulled up and also some info we're going through too. For Krishna, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So you got to clarify a little bit more. You leave me kind of clueless there. No idea what you're talking about. Anyways, TikTok, you guys are so quiet. What the heck? Usually you guys are the talkative ones, which surprises me. YouTube's like 20 people in here, and we are talking about everything except for health. So, some guy asking about his crush. I have no idea what you're talking about. And then somebody said, "Ooh, Dr. Poppy Antonio." Interesting. I'm Italian. Kava is basically mud water, sir. Not true at all. There's wide variety of benefits. I can pull up studies. We can go through all those things too if you want to take things that way. Ben, screw Ben. No idea who Ben is. Anxiety, interesting. Okay. Let me know if we want to hear about that. Let's do some votes maybe in the chat here. We'll get something done in this. What are we talking about? All things health, and specifically the no sugar challenge that I have everybody doing this month, throughout the month of January, something that we do every single year. There's a whole Facebook group on it, and there's a bunch of info sheets, foods to enjoy, foods to avoid, basically getting protein up, getting sugar down throughout the entire month, helping your body calm down sources of inflammation and other things microbial wise with the immune system. Obviously, good benefits to it. People abuse the hell out of sugar, so interesting. We got a TikTok question. Having a lot of deja vu around my vestibular migraine. Should I look into epilepsy? Um, I would wonder where or what's causing the migraines. Has anybody helped you figure that out? Okay, where are we going here? Were you just saying to take kava? That's not a doctor's advice. Well, maybe not your doctor, but I tell people to take kava all the time, especially when you're getting it from our organic sources and the farms are organic and all the practices of harvesting that herb and the right germination, plantation, maturity time, nutrition going into the plant, and then how it's harvested and then extracted out. It actually has tons of medicinal benefits, and that's why it's all over research databases too, because that's one where I find this information out in the first place, and two, why we manufacture these things in the highest potency, purity, concentration possible so that we can benefit the lives of other people, help them combat different mental stressors, which is really what the purpose of kava is for. But I love kava, especially paired with St. John's. Both of those pair really well. I call it kind of a wombo combo because St. John's more acting on a serotonin sense, and kava a little bit more dopamine focused, and also helping you take out a little bit of excess neurotransmitters there too, which St. John's can help you build up. So yeah, that's kind of some perspective there, but also helping with the liver, helping with certain immune cells, obviously getting stress down, loaded with antioxidants, uh, multiple things. But let's look at our comedian here, Gain Shillis. You're a bad doctor then. I'm from New Zealand, where kava is prevalent. I've drank it multiple times. You've told me it's not mud water. You've never drank organic kava, sir. Well, you're drinking it in the improper way it's supposed to be drank, because herbal plants are meant to be extracted, and that's usually done through some medium, like an organic sugarcane alcohol, something that's food grade, and then you let that soak for months on end, and it basically extracts all that out. Helps even do some fermentation with that herb in there, and you simply have no idea what you're discussing. So, this is what I do for a living: health restoration and looking at things from a holistic point of view, and run labs on people and figuring out what they need to do to rebuild their body from the inside out. Health restoration is what I'm doing. I'm seeing some questions come up in there too. So, but I love giving some fire back when it is due. Um, you guys are funny though. Either way, matcha. I love matcha. Kava is like an herbal tea. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. You saying Islanders who? Oh my God, this is terrible. Are you saying Islanders who've been drinking kava for 1,000 years don't know what they're up to? That's extremely racist. What? What are you saying? What are you saying, bro? Anyways, let's get back to what we're actually talking about here. Okay. Um. Ooh, I'm doing the no sugar challenge and switch to Diet Coke. I would encourage you to make another switch there too, to Zevia or something like Olipop in there too, so that you could just have one, just a better sweetener form. So stevia, yakin syrup, monk fruit, xylitol from birch bark. Those are pretty much the best alternatives there. Um, Actually, I think I forgot one more. Let's pull that up. Allulose, technically erythritol, depending on the source. Yeah, monk fruit, stevia, yakin syrup. So those are your best sources there. And if you guys need the no sugar resources, let me know. I could send you the sign up link. It's totally free. It's just a community thing we do every single year. So I'm totally addicted to sweets. Help. Yeah, aren't we all? Sugar's the one thing that, because you can overdo so many foods and just get kind of tired of them. Like if you do carnivore for a couple weeks straight, you're like, I'm sick of eating meat. But when you started it, it was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. Everything was good. But yeah, over time, you kind of get tired of it. But sugar, man, every day you can wake up and abuse it and still be good, you know? So there's that. Um, but Gymnema and Oregon grape, just because Oregon grape with the amount of berberine in there, fantastic. And then Gymnema helping basically train your sweet receptors and even helping them combat sugar cravings, combat the sweet receptors within the tongue and the oral cavity there, and even helping with things like yeast and getting the beta cells in the pancreas to secrete insulin very nicely and take blood sugar down, even paired with Oregon grape there. It's fantastic. So pretty awesome. Um, yeah, Gymnema. And I usually do the live with the herbs right here in front of me, but they're in the reception area. So, but part of the no sugar challenge is that we discount all of the sugar based herbs for the entire month. So 10% off for everybody. And during the lives too, for the new patient sign up link, once we get to 1,000 followers on TikTok, then I can put it in there. Um, unfortunately, it is not in there. So you have to send me a DM and I'll get you signed up in the patient portal so I can discount everything for you. YouTube, you do have the benefit of having all my links in there, but go to the profile, you'll see all that stuff. Anyways, Gymnema, she's spelled with a J. No, it's Gymnema. Gymnema. Okay, let's go back to YouTube because you guys are going crazy in here. Um, where did we leave off? Oh wow, Gain Shillis coming back hard, dude. Taking it personal. We're just talking about the marketplace of ideas here, and in the sense of health and the guidelines there. So coffee is bad? No, it's not. There's just a lot of mold on coffee. It's really where you're getting it from. Coffee in itself, not bad. Da, da, da. Considering all, I don't know, weird question there. We still have that problem. Blah 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 blah. Specialty, health restoration. Asking me math problems. Okay. Stevia has an odd taste. I get that a lot too. Birch bark xylitol is probably a better alternative for you, just because with some people they have different taste receptors. So xylitol is probably going to be a lot better if you're already having issues with the Zevia taste. So, gaming kombucha. We don't do it on the no sugar challenge just because we're trying to avoid feeding yeast throughout this process. So, you know, there can be some very small amounts of sugars and yeast depending on the brand, but some brands do show proof that they don't have any yeast left over after they do their, what is it, brewing or distilling, fermentation, whatever it is that they make kombucha, right? Let's rotate this guy a little bit. There we go. Okay, wait. What? Where were we? Do do do. Gain Shillis. No offense, man. I'm just helping the people, right? Got to lead the people. I'm here for guidance. That's it. No ego here, really. Sugar makes us nauseous and lazy. Yes, it does. Fake sugar is even worse. Non-HDL cholesterol elevation. 178. Is it more concerning? You got to ask, what does cholesterol do, especially LDL, and why is it going up? And typically there's some type of healing process that's trying to take place or hormonal levels that are extremely low. I mainly see people chronically inflamed like all heck, and that being primary reasons for seeing those elevate. So, um, he said Tristan. Oh man, that's funny. I am not reading that. I like sugar and I won't stop consuming it anyhow. All right, you know, it's just emotions there. That's really all it is. Food's emotional. So gotta control those things. And gymnema, Oregon grape, again, even if that sugar addiction's coming from a stress issue and you're a business owner or something, you got a crazy fast-paced lifestyle, that's really common too. So um, just because you don't want to avoid sugar, don't get me wrong. I wish I could just abuse the hell out of sugar too. Come on now. Thank you. You're welcome. By no sugar, do you mean fruits as well? So we had previous versions of the no sugar challenge to where there were no fruits at all allowed, and that was actually pretty hard for people to do. The Wellness Way docs and the people within the Wellness Way, we didn't have too many issues with it, but the only fruits allowed are mainly berries, things like avocados. So avocados, blackberries, blueberries, lemons, limes, raspberries, and strawberries, because the fiber content within a lot of the berry sources is really, really high. Plus avocados too, and they are technically a fruit. And the lemons and limes, there's a lot of good constituents in there too. A lot of the citrus portions, a lot of that sour does help mitigate some of the glucose availability. So that's why they're in there. But yeah, those mainly being the only things allowed. A lot of the starchy vegetables too, potatoes, cassava, the heavier grainy type things. Obviously, grains not being allowed on this, but yeah, send me a message. I'll give you the whole sign up sheet for the No Sugar Challenge. You'll be able to get all the graphics and discounts and all that stuff in there. So, are you a surgeon? No, not a surgeon. I'm a chiro and health restoration doc here at the Wellness Way Randolph. This is my office here that we're live from. Waiting on a couple deliveries here coming in here too today. But all right, I'll finish these up. We'll jump over to YouTube again. Thoughts on peptides? Ozembic's a peptide, just for, we'll take a sip there. Ozembic's a peptide. So, it depends on which one, and we don't know enough about them right now, and there will be some consequences later. Because with anything that you take, there's positives and negatives. Anything. Tips to lose weight. That is what today's live is all about with Hashimoto's. So there's an immune component there, along with some deficiencies that are really common too. So the immune component is really what you got to figure out, and no sugar will only help that because sugar is going to feed a ton of opportunistic infections and make that Hashimoto's even worse. So, would a caloric deficit help? To a degree, a caloric deficit without a nutrient deficit. Haha. So that's kind of what I'm going over today. I'm just trying to get caught up with a lot of questions here, but yeah, when you're thinking about Hashimoto's, most of the time it's deficiencies, whether it be iodine, selenium, and those building blocks to create thyroid hormones in the first place. Sometimes it's communication with the brain as well. Uh, that could be, that's usually not the case, but very rarely will I see viral issues or certain aspects of the immune system, whether it's natural killer cells, CD4 cells that are low. Now you can't combine and have good T cell regulation and combat those, even something minor infection or even food can start to bother you too. So I'll typically look at food allergies some of the time too, so that we can see what amino acids aren't being broken or proteins aren't being broken down enough. And your body has to break those proteins down into amino acids so that you can use those things, just like the Lego apple that we talked about earlier. When you take a piece of an apple as if it was a Lego, your body's going to break all those Lego pieces down and put them back together in different tissues and different forms of things. So, in terms of the caloric deficit, definitely, because taking some excess tissue off there. But again, this is not a fast. This is not a fast challenge. It's a no sugar challenge. So you want to keep the amount of nutrients coming in there sufficient. And a lot of the times glandulars, a lot of the times even micronutrients too. Iron, zinc. I already covered selenium and iodine and those things too. But within different glandulars, organ meats, liver, thyroid tissue, all those things, you can get a lot of those key constituents that help build those thyroid hormones in the first place. And most thyroid hormones are converted outside of the thyroid. So, T4 into T3, that's mainly done by the liver. Typically, this time of year, you're going to see a lot of toxicity there too. Another huge reason for the no sugar challenge, because sugar, triglycerides, all those things are going to do a lot of damage there and slow a lot of liver function down. Bile, issues with the gallbladder, issues with the GI. That's, opportunistic infections, yeast, things like that. Hashimoto's is a big one, but can definitely be addressed because you're not programmed to have a disease. There's no cells in your body that are programmed for trying to kill you. So, anyways, let's keep going. Um, I haven't really covered many slides. Let's see if I could tackle a bunch of the relevant questions. Jesus love you. Heck yeah, brother. Get the Jesus piece out there. Represent. Hey. Oh, it's all over my microphone. Oops. But yes, certainly. How we doing here on the mic? I think we're good. Okie doke. Back to YouTube. Thank you very much to some of you guys. What's the skincare routine? I like saunas. I like beef tallow. Sometimes coconut oil. Different essential oils there too. And apple cider vinegar mixed with water. Also another really good one too. Helps you keep the skin barriers slightly acidic there too, which the skin loves some acidity. Bum, bum, bum. I'm saying this for one last time. Blah, blah, blah. Sugar in fruit is not bad for you. Yeah, it's about glycemic availability. Oh my God. We have YouTubers telling us about biochemistry here, guys. You want to get fiber up as much as possible to mitigate a lot of that sugar absorption and glycemic availability. You want to take proteins and fats in, obviously, before you're doing anything to do with sugars. But for the past 4 months, people have beat the living hell out of their body with sugar. Not gotten enough sun, not gotten enough movement. So you coming on here saying fruit is not that bad. It's like, dude, people have eaten cookies for the past 4 months straight. We could take a 30-day break here. And honestly, the no sugar challenge, it has berries. You're gonna be okay. It's food we're talking about here. You're gonna be all right. You're here with the community doing this, so suck it up, buttercup. How about that? It's 30 days, right? And you have Gymnema, you have Oregon Grape, you have these things to help you through. And getting stressed down too. That's going to help you mitigate those sugar cravings. But yeah, is fruit bad? Your body runs off sugar. That's the primary fuel source. But you've been stacking it up all over your waist for the past 4 months. So we could take some of that that's been converted in fat and break it back down into sugars and use it as energy. So, any relevant questions here? Boki, what's up? What kind of doc are you? How to treat fungal infections? I'm Cairo and health restoration doc for the Wellness Way. I'm here as the owner and managing doc at the Wellness Way Randolph. I'm probably going to start doing my TikTok lives from the Randolph account once we get to 1,000 followers on here, because then I can put my all the links and resources for you guys in the bio. So hit that follow button. But in terms of the fungal issues going on here, good timing and great question, because as I've said about 50 more times, it's the No Sugar Weight Loss Challenge this month for the whole month of January. Plus, Gymnema, Oregon Grape, the things that help with opportunistic infections like yeast, like bacteria, that feed off sugar like crazy. You want to be taking these liquid herbs to move those out of the body, and all of them are 10% off for the entire month. So send me a message. We'll get you some help there. And there's obviously some better testing that we could do as well, because you have to look at the overall environment there. But I would want to speak to you on the phone, do a complimentary call, figure out what we got to do and the next best steps to get your body back to normal. So, a good question there. All right, how about we continue with some slides and then we get back into the questions. So, talking about protein a lot, talked about reducing caloric intake. Calories do matter, but also what matters is what those calories are made up of. You can't just take a 1,400 calorie day and only eat Twinkies. Do that for long enough, you will develop issues, deficiencies, things like that. Get your protein up, get your calories down, get your sugar down, get your fiber up. And by doing that, you're increasing your satiety. You're getting higher protein levels, which will help with glucose availability again, but also that assimilation and breakdown of those proteins takes 30% of the calories per gram that those proteins have. So you're actually having a thermogenic effect, and that's for a very long time. It takes 6 to 8 hours to break down protein significantly. So another little trick is to get stomach acid up. as well, so that you could stimulate properly to the pancreas, to the small intestine, and these things, so you can get good enzyme and hormone secretion, because your GI has hormones as well. But yeah, those being the first few initial steps. And I have a bunch of studies here. I guess I'll do some reading for you guys here as well. Um, let's open this up full screen. We'll get back to the questions here too. Okay, dietary guidelines. We'll get that back here. Dietary guidelines should reflect new understandings about adult protein needs, and for Americans provide nutrient advice aimed at promoting health dietary choices for lifelong health and reducing risk of chronic diseases. With the advancing age and population, the 2010 dietary guidelines confront increased risk for age-related problems like obesity, osteoporosis, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, heart disease, sarcopenia, and new research demonstrates that meal distribution and the amount of protein are important in maintaining body composition. Wink, wink, Ozempic. Let's keep going. Bone health and glucose homeostasis. I love that word. That's actually what health means, your body's ability to adapt back to homeostasis. But let's keep rolling. Protein and amino acids contribute to multiple metabolic roles and beyond simple substrates for protein synthesis. Dietary protein influences cell signaling, satiety, thermogenesis, glycemic regulations, and each of these roles is initiated by increases in plasma and intracellular amino acid concentrations. These metabolic outcomes only become important with intakes of above the minimum RDA of proteins per day, using current measures of nitrogen balance and amino acid oxidation as the only criteria for protein requirements. These metabolic outcomes are rejected out of hand as insufficient and wasteful, blah, 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 ADMR. So let's get into some of that. Mechanisms for these metabolic outcomes are being unraveled for the effects that appear to relate to the protein at each meal. Current dietary guidelines focused on the RDA minimize the importance of protein as a central part of every meal and produce meal patterns with over 65% of protein consumed in a single large meal after 6:30 p.m. Most adults consume less than 10 grams of protein at breakfast. Naughty, naughty. In children and young adults, uneven meal distribution of protein appears not to adversely affect growth. The anabolic drive maintains high efficiency of proteins for nitrogen retention, even when daily protein is consumed as a single large meal. However, in older adults, the quantity and quality of protein in individual meals is important. Adults require 15 grams of EAA, or at least 30 grams of protein per meal, to fully stimulate skeletal muscle protein synthesis, which does help with weight loss. We'll get there. I have like 60 slides. So this response appears to be determined by the EAA leucine, so essential amino acid leucine, and has been well characterized as a unique regulator of the insulin mTOR signal pathway controlling synthesis of muscle proteins in children and young adults. The signal pathway is regulated by insulin and dietary energy, while leucine regulates pathways in adults. So it's a little bit different there for adults to children. But let's keep going, as long as we're doing okay in the chats. So protein needs are proportional to body weight, not energy intake. Protein needs for the adults related to body weight. Dietary protein need is often present as a percentage of total energy intake. So they represent the acceptable protein range as 10% to 35% of total energy. However, protein needs are constant across all energy intakes. So at low energy intakes, protein needs need to be a higher percentage of the total calories. And at high energy intakes, you'll see this with a lot of athletes and things like that, proteins can be reduced as a total percentage of the calories. In general, dietary protein should be established first in any diets in proportion to the body weight and the carbohydrates and fats added determined by the energy needs. So go to wellnessway.com, type in protein calculator, and you can type in your goal weight there, your height, your weight, your activity, so that you can know and have absolutely dialed in how much to be consuming in terms of protein. Sugars we'll get to as well, but that's kind of based off some of the weight and the energy being taken out per day. So total daily energy expenditure is kind of part of the calculation there. Obviously, if you're sedentary, you're going to have higher percentages of protein per total caloric intake. versus if you're a really high activity person, you're going to be able to take in more sugars, and that's honestly going to help you a little bit more. But for the month of January, we're not doing that. So one more here. Optimal protein use is a function of intake at individual meals. Protein is an important part of good nutrition at every meal. Vitamins and minerals can fulfill nutrient needs on a once a day basis, but for protein, the body has no ability to store a daily supply. Huh. To maintain healthy muscles and bones for adults, at least 30 grams of protein should be consumed at more than one meal. Breakfast is an important meal for dietary protein because the body is in a catabolic state after an overnight fast. That is why the best time to eat out of any day is between 8 and 9 a.m. That's when you get the best protein assimilation, or like 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. A meal with at least 30 grams of protein is required to initiate repletion of body proteins. Protein at breakfast is also crucial for regulation and appetite and daily food intake. So, how to reduce your calories? You get protein intake up and you limit sugar intake. Those are the two big ones that we covered so far. Obviously, I dabbled in a couple other details that we had in there as well. A lot of verbiage, but let's head back to the chats and see what we got. Hello, Doc. I'm scrolling through lives. May I know what kind of doc you are? Thank you. I'm a chiro and health restoration doc at the Wellness Way, Randolph. I am the owner and managing doc, yeah, in New Jersey. So, here in New Jersey. How many years did you need to study? 4 years undergrad, and then almost 4 years of graduate school, and still studying to this day. On my drive home, on my drive here, in between different things. So, like 2 hours a day of studying. I have a hard time focusing, thinking I'm feeling a little bit weird. I have diabetes. Can it make me feel like this? 100%. That's why we do our no sugar challenge every January. So send me a DM. I'll send you the sign up link. It's completely free. We get discounts, resources, and all these things for you guys. So great question there, though. Welcome to the club. You found your family, my friends. You found your family. Go into the YouTube chats. Blah, blah, blah. I'm Valerie. I love your lives. Can I get a shout out? Oh, yeah, we're talking about health stuff here, guys. I'm saying this one last time for the dummies, which is most of you. Sugar and fruit is not bad for you. Here we go again. I may have read that one twice. I don't know. Get out of here. You know what you're talking about, but body runs off glucose, but we're talking about January and beating the crap out of our bodies for 4 months, the past few months, and it is not flu season. It is too much sugar season. So God isn't real. He surely is. He surely is. I imagine it's still in use. Blah blah blah. You guys are so sad. Look at you guys. You guys need some St. John's and kava in your life. Get the dopamine up. Get the serotonin going. Wake up with a good attitude. Try and help and give value to the other people in the world that you share with, which is what we're doing here. All right, cool. We didn't have too many relevant questions on YouTube. We got some more in here on TikTok though. Before we get back to our slides, so I have a hard time focusing. Okay, yes. During a stressful day, which can certainly affect every single cell in your body, I get random outbursts of sugar cravings because stressed, spelled backwards, is desserts. Kind of cool. How do I curb this? Some California poppy, some gymnema. I'll be doing those two things. What are good snacks during the no sugar January challenge? I would either look at the From Scratch cookbook that we have on there, or go to the Wellness Way website, and we have basically a ton of different recipe ideas and a whole snack section. So for your benefit, I'm actually going to do that for you. Let's pull up some of these. I'm very simple when it comes to food, so I don't get too fancy, to be honest with you. Let's go into our recipes. Boom. Look how fast that was. Let's go to the snack page. Snacks. We got no bake, peanut butter. Oh, wait, these aren't no sugar approved. Okay, there's select ones that are no sugar approved on here. Easy no sugar fruit roll ups. That's pretty cool. No bake chocolate chip protein balls. Heck yeah. Peanut butter bliss smoothie. So there's a bunch of stuff on there, but kind of depends on your palate, you know. Country Girl Life. Look into that. Heck yeah. Totally. All right. What do we got? These fake unemployed guys have enough time on YouTube. No, I cut time out of my day to do this. First of all, I have a schedule here. I got patients coming in this afternoon. I'm a owner of a business and a health restoration practice here. So you're scrolling through YouTube lives in the middle of the day. I'm actually doing this to help people and grow community on the platform here, which basically most of the people are on these platforms, and you get to build communities, you get to give people value. When you give people value, that value comes back in different ways. So yeah, you'd be kind of brain dead not to do what I'm doing. Um, but you're on the other side of that screen just consuming content, right? Instead of creating it. But yeah, if we want to get sassy, we could get sassy. Guys, I'm a Cairo. Most people hate what I say, which is crazy. It's a little crazy to me, especially if you were awake for COVID. Hello? If you were awake for any of that, it's like, wake up, people. Wake up. Um, anyways, any more relevant stuff here? Do. Okay, cool. Let's keep rolling through some slides. So we talked about weight loss, whole thing. No sugar January plus weight loss challenge. A little tweak to that this year. A little bit of extra stuff. And part of that equation, taking in more proteins, limiting your sugar intake, but let's keep going. This is certainly why we do this. So fiber. Now, on the topic of fiber, you want to tend toward those highest fiber foods, but I got some more research to rattle off to you guys in the topic of fiber and how that helps us with weight loss and sugar absorption and availability and all those beautiful things. So, several studies suggest that dietary fiber may reduce mortality risk, but this may depend on the types of fibers and the evidence regarding the role of soluble or insoluble fibers. On death risk, remain limited and inconsistent. Therefore, this study is aimed to comprehensively evaluate multiple types of dietary fiber intake on mortality from all causes: cardiovascular, cancer, large scale, prostate, lung, colorectal, ovarian cancer, all these different things. So, in this large nationally represented sample of US adult populations, intakes of total fiber and soluble and insoluble fiber were associated with lower risks of all cause cardiovascular and cancer mortality. High fiber diets refer to a diet that meets or exceeds dietary reference intake for dietary set by the United States Institute of Medicine. And the ranges being girls 4 to 8 years old, around 17 grams, boys 4 to 8, 20 grams, between 9 to 13 years old for females, 22 to 23 grams, boys 19 to 13, 25 grams per day, girls 14 to 18, 25 grams per day, boys 14 to 18, 30 grams per day, women aged 19 to 50, 25 grams per day, men aged 19 to 50, 38 grams per day. I think it's much higher than that. And it keeps going up as you age there. So, what are the highest fiber foods that are tasty that you can do on the no sugar challenge and things? Obviously, there will be some deviation here. Avocados dominating, weighing in at 13.5 grams of fiber per serving. Crazy, crazy amounts of fiber in there. Blackberries, 7.63, extremely high. Raspberries, 9.75 grams of fiber. Obviously, there will be some starchy veggies that you're not really allowed to do, but Brussels sprouts, 6 grams. Artichokes, almost 7. So pretty impressive there too. And then you got chia seeds, some lentils and things there. But some of these you want to avoid going too starchy. But all in all, if you need a sheet on the highest fiber foods, I'll send that to you as well. Obviously, increasing our protein intake, limiting our sugar intake, increasing your fiber, and getting water up as well can all help you reduce calories, can all help you lose weight. So, not too bad, hey? Let's head back to the chats. See how we're doing here. I'm interested in a no sugar challenge. Heck yeah, send me a DM. I'll send you the sign up. It's completely free. You'll be able to join all the community here. You'll get resources, you'll get discounts, and all these things that will benefit you in your no sugar journey for this month of January. But this year we added a little twinge to it because it's the no sugar and weight loss challenge this year. So pretty cool. We talked about the stressful day with sugar cravings, certainly connected there. You need to look at that. How do we join the no sugar challenge? I don't have a link in my bio unless we got to 1,000 followers during this live. So until I have that link up there, I can't put it up there for you guys to click on. So just send me a message. I'll send it to you, or send me an email, whatever you got to do. But yes. All right, pretty fun. Let's head over to YouTube. I'm only going to cover the relevant questions here. All right, where did we leave off? 300 eggs per day, blah, blah, blah. What's the stream about? Weight loss, no sugar, also covering a ton of health questions that you guys come up with. Asking about brain damage. You guys are crazy, dude. Interesting. You guys are nuts. No relevant questions here at all on the YouTube side of things. They're just brain dead here. I mean, look at this. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Let's go back to freaking TikTok. Ask me health questions, please. Please. This is crazy. Like, just for TikTok here. Oh my God. Do you like Demon Slayer? No idea what that is. I like eggs over easy. Cool. Then asking, like, oh my God. Doctor says we are nuts or crazy. Yeah, it's true. Anyways, back to TikTok. Doing intermittent fasting by breaking my fast only with carnivore diet. Feels good. What do you say? I would actually flip that around. I would consume your, if you're doing 1 or 2 meals, I would do those earlier on because you're going to get better protein stimulation out of that and better use out of your calories and have more of a thermogenic effect on your food and total calories burnt throughout the entire day. So if you stop eating at like 3 or 4 p.m. and you basically do a breakfast there and then a later lunch and then skip dinner as a whole, if you are trying to do that, you'll be much better off. How many hours should you wait from meal to meal? I'd say like 4. 4 to 6. I really only like doing 2 meals a day. I'm on 30 days right now, no sugar. Beautiful. Look at all the people in the chat doing no sugar. I love it. Is it important to eat breakfast if you are not hungry in the morning? Yeah, I mean, if it's for like you want to lose the most weight, you want the most benefit possible, then technically you do want to eat in the mornings and not eat at night times. So starting carnivore on Monday, nice. Does autophagy help with atherosclerosis when fasting? In terms of general cleanup, getting inflammation down, yeah, I mean, you're going to have a wide effect on that. Is that, a one cure-all thing? No, there's no one cure-all thing. And there will never be. That's not how it works. Also, fiber, getting that up like crazy, does show all-cause mortality and even cardiovascular risk. Dives down a ton. Getting sugar down also does the same. So if you do, some fasting mixed in there, I would be very curious or cautious if you're a female doing that. I wouldn't want you doing anything over like 24 hours, depending on hormonal levels and things. So, do you consider sipping bone broth a meal? No, I wouldn't call that a meal. Usually under 50 calories is technically the thing. All right, good stuff. What we did an hour here. That was pretty fun. We will probably continue the rest of the slides here. We got through like 20 of them. So we're about halfway done. But we'll have the second half tomorrow, and it will run off what we talked about and discussed originally. Um, but remember those steps in regard to getting calories down and getting weight loss to happen, and having that sugar take a back seat this month. So for the people trying to join the No Sugar January / weight loss challenge, if you're on TikTok, send me a DM. If you're on YouTube, you should be able to access my links in there. I'm going to put the No Sugar link in there right now in the link tree. So that'll be really cool. And obviously, once we get to 1,000 followers on TikTok, I can put the links in there. Unfortunately, you do have to send me a DM. I know, doing so much work for you. But aside from that, you'll get discounts, resources, all those things. And for people that are looking to start care as well, you get $75 off during the times that I am live. So I'll leave that discount all available for the self-registration link, which is also in my bio there. And basically a $99 visit. Plus, you get all the discounts this month that are available too. But as always, stay healthy, stay free. Thank you guys for popping on in here. What times do I start the lives? They're kind of all over the place. So starting a business here. It's always a guessing game. But hello, Nikki. How we doing? I'm actually peacing out right now. So, but send me your questions too if you guys got more. I'll be maybe we'll be on live later, but maybe not. I don't know. But definitely tomorrow. So see you guys. Peace out.